Okay, welcome everybody, first and foremostly, to the group. If you are watching this video, this is a little welcome video from all of us, 12, 15 people here or so. Welcome everyone, say hello, wave. All right, so this week we've got Kiara, so Key, obviously know you well. Welcome to the group. Jamie, Ramnita, Danica, Chloe, Anthony, Natasha, Khan or Kun, and Raywin as well. Ray, great to have you here. Guys, you'll be obviously tagged in this video. This is a little welcome video from all of us guys to you, to welcome you along and to invite you to join us in these seminars. Today, we are going to discuss the topic of how to encourage your clients to fully utilize you as your coach, which will impact your business in many positive ways, such as retention and getting them to obviously know you more, trust you more, and love you more. Basically never want to leave your side, and how to utilize you as a PT. So that's just an example of one of the topics that we discuss in these webinars. Welcome one, welcome all, utilize them. And if not, we do replays as long as you watch them. So welcome to the community, and we're going to get stuck in. So, all right, guys, today we've got obviously this topic, how to encourage your clients to fully utilize you as their coach and why this is important. I came up with this topic because obviously when we do the polls and the voting, the same ones are always there. We seem to be going, not like, I think through like it's always very like, the topics recently have been quite evolving around like fear and taking action and perfection paralysis and stuff like this. And I think I can't remember who it was. I was speaking to someone about how to get your clients to fully utilize. Was it you, Tash? Did I speak to you last week about this, Tash? And I said, oh, this is what I'm going to put as a mental note for our seminar. I don't know whether it was or not. It was you. Yeah. So I thought, like, we were talking about people utilizing me first and foremost, right? If anybody at all has any questions. So again, for like Tanya, who's obviously recently joined us, and Chloe as well. Chloe, can you, if you're there, can you just type something in the chat? I don't know whether you can hear me okay, but I want you obviously to be able to absorb everything and feel welcome. You can turn your webinar on. We're all lovely people. We're not going to bite you here. You're here. Okay, cool. Feel free to turn on your webinar if you want, or your camera if you want. Basically, I want everyone to know that if you guys have anything going on, we have talked about this recently, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental or physical, anything at all that may be a question that you want answering, it might be restricting you from moving your business forward. We are all human beings, right? We're all human beings. There's going to be relationship troubles. There's going to be fucking troubles of anything, right? Anything in life. Communicating them with somebody, right, is going to help you. Anyone ever had any bad shit happen to them in their life? Yeah, I think we all have. Do you feel better when you get it off your chest and you communicate, right? This is what I'm talking about. So we're gonna pre-frame first. We're just talking about you guys obviously utilizing me. Like, you guys know that, you know, you've got a shoulder to cry on, you've got someone to bounce off, and you've got a positive influence in your life here with me. What we want to do today is take that, what you know you have with me, but get it incorporated into your business, right? Sometimes you're going to have to drag this, right, from your clients to be able to utilize, but we're going to talk about this. I know that every single one of these guys here, and everyone watching the recording, we have more and more people joining us at the moment than ever. We have the most amount of clients on the books now. We're approaching 100 clients at the moment on the books. So many of these guys are all going to be able to benefit from this stuff. So many, right? So with that being said, does anyone here have people currently that you can just sense are not 100% in or committed, or you can just sense they're not 100% there or happy or anything? Anyone, come off mute. Tell me a little bit of a rundown or a story. And every one of you guys are going to have these clients. Everyone. Oh, wait.
I'll go. So I had a client, well, still have a client at the moment. She gave notice about 2 weeks ago, so she'll finish in 2 weeks. She started out really good with like high communication and then kind of dropped off for a period of time. And I was like, I kind of felt her drop off and I was like, something's happening here. Well, I don't know whether it's between her and I or there's some things at home going on. So I ended up just having a sit down chat with her instead of having a session. And she finally like told me what was going on at home. Like she has got all less time for herself, running around for the kids, issues with her ex-husband, all that sort of stuff, which is stopping her from putting herself first. So she's not actually making time for herself. So that's where the communication breakdown was. And I said, you need to communicate this stuff with me. I can't help you if you don't talk about it. So we actually had a really good, communication session instead of an actual physical session.
Yeah, love that, Charmaine. What's the outcome? What was the outcome from it? Where did it go?
So she's obviously a little bit more connected at the moment. I'm not really pushing her to stay. I haven't had that conversation or anything like that with her, but I'm just trying to connect with her a little bit more, message her, see how she's going, and change the setting or the tone of doing her physical sessions on her own, because it's really hard to get her to do her physical sessions on her own without seeing me. And I've just said to her, I was like, okay, so maybe we can talk about it as like a self-love session or showing up for yourself, making time for yourself or something instead, changing the wording. And she's a little bit more adaptive to that. So she's responding a little bit better.
I love that. I love that. Thank you very much. So look, first and foremost, like we always say, guys, like a personal training session doesn't have to be physical. I think for someone like Alex as well, brother, welcome, dude. Hopefully you're well. And congrats on the move being booked into Bali. Alex is relocating himself to Bali, everyone. Lucky man. Congratulations, brother. That's what an online coach can do. With that being said, I think someone like Alex, for example, who's primarily online with me, it's all you're never with them face to face, so trying to like extract this sort of stuff is a bit harder, but you can tell that the communication with the client drops off. You're obviously going to notice it very easily. Like it's a lot more visibly seen that with Charmaine. But sometimes it's a really good point that Charmaine made here. A personal training session, we always say, doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't. So notice how Charmaine said that she sat down and she went and took them aside and she got to the bottom of like where the resistance was, right? Where the resistance was, or where the sort of silence was. Or there was something going on and you sense it, right? Every one of you guys will be able to sense who's going to drop off before they drop off. I guarantee it. Like you should be able to know, like, this person's coming towards the end, then because you put it out there to the universe, next thing, they become gone, right? But it is that way, right? Now, for example, I had a client last week, amazing client, like he's only been with us for maybe like 3 months or so, never shows his face on here, social media at all. So name Sean, great client, works a full-time job as well, right? And he wanted his online PT business to obviously take off so that he could take back his time from this online job, for his full-time job of his. He basically, again, communication was like, he outlined at the start, he communicated well that he was only going to be on weekends. Anyway, get to the point. The weekend communication started disappearing, everything started disappearing. And I was just like, what's going on, brother? Blah, 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 blah. He's an amazing guy anyway. So he came and he said to me, bro, like, this is what's going on, because I'd asked him, I can tell that there is something going on, like Charmaine said. So step one, guys, if you can think or you feel that anyone is not 100% themselves, they're not as engaged as they were when they signed up with you in the beginning, right? You make sure that you actually go to them and confront it, because if you don't, they will be gone. And this is where a lot of PTs have humongous retention issues, because they just don't give a shit. They don't care. They'll know something's wrong, but they won't necessarily know how to communicate or how to bring up with this client that, something is wrong, or they just generally don't care, right? So they don't, next minute, that client leaves. So you need to confront it. So I just said, bro, like, I can tell here that you're not giving me the full story. Next minute, he gets back to me, and because Sean's such an awesome guy, he goes, look, my full-time job, I'm wanting to pursue that and actually get a qualification in it at the moment. And that's why my energy is being more into that. It makes sense straight away. Do you know what I mean? But the most thing is, most important thing is you've extracted the information from them, right? And that's the point I'm trying to make. So number one, get the information from them, but you're going to have to, as the personal trainer, you're going to have to be the one to get it from them. Don't expect that your clients are just going to come to you walls down, vulnerable, open, and just discuss what's going on in their life. A lot of it's really personal stuff, right? And obviously I have chats with some of you guys on here about personal stuff too, right? And it's that simple, but because we communicate about it, we get through it, right? And those of you who know what I'm talking about, we've got through some pretty big boundaries before, right? So that's the first thing. Anyone else have examples of like a client who's been resistant, or you can tell they've dropped off, or anything like that, and you don't know what to do necessarily, or you don't know how to communicate, or you do and you have and it's changed? Anyone else? I know you will have all seen this before.
Yeah, can I ask?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
It's pretty much how you are with us. Like you're on my ass if I'm not
Yeah.
communicating as efficiently as I should be. And I'm like that. I feel like I'm like that with my clients. But because there's that barrier of I don't see them face to face, they sort of hide away. So then I sort of do what you do. I reach out to Messenger or Instagram, wherever I've picked them up from, and then I get their attention, and then they come back to Voxer.
Yeah.
So that's what I sort of do with them. I'm finding it a little bit hard with 2 clients at the moment. Like they're still paying me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like what's going on? Like I don't want you to pay me if you're not even like doing the program. Like you're not even going to give me results. You're just putting money in my account. I don't like that shit, you know? So how do I overcome that? Yeah. I guess
that's a very, very good question. And I think for, say, Chloe as well, who's her first time here, it may be for Chloe and anyone that watches this on replay for the first time, because we always have some people watching for the first time. It might actually seem weird and quite not, it would be nice to hear at the same time, but weird. Alex does not enjoy people putting money in his bank account if they don't utilize his service. I share that with him. I fucking can't stand it. Like I am not here to take money from people. When I pour my energy, my heart, and my soul into your business, well, yeah, obviously, like Alex does, you'd expect to get rewarded for that because you're running a business, right? But this is the thing: if they're not utilizing it and they're paying, this is an interesting one, bro. So my experience with this, right? And has anyone else experienced that? People are happy to pay for sessions, but they don't show to them, right? Exactly. My experience with that is that they know that they need you. They know. And they're also happy to continue paying for the service because they want to utilize the service. However, what this is, brother, is a prime example of it's an alarm bell going off that they need you to go to them and approach them and ask them what's going on. So that's exactly what that is. Like I have multiple clients, and it's not cool. They pay. Every month they pay their invoices on time, but they don't communicate at all. I don't speak to them at all. No portal access, no nothing. And I know for a fact that their businesses aren't in a good place, but they're just happy to pay. The reason why is because they know it's on them. They know it's on them, and they're ready and they're waiting to take some action. All I can do though is just speak to them, touch base once a week when I do my Monday and my Thursday check-ins. Send them the written ones. I send them obviously the updates about these webinars. I cannot get, and this is what another element of my notes here that we're going to obviously take into consideration soon, is I cannot allow myself to get mentally absorbed more and care more about what they care about their business. So this is a very fine line, guys, you want to walk, right? You want to get people to utilize your service, but at the same time, don't let it be detrimental to your own headspace. Like for me, that is, yeah, I've not been in a very good place a lot of the time, and a lot of the time it's because of clients draining me and just saying that they want to. All good, Tarkin, no worries. Or it's because clients say that they want to grow their business and then they just don't move, right? And I'm there for them. I'm helping them. I'm dragging them. I'm motivating them, and they just still don't move. It's like, you know, it's frustrating, right? But that for you, Alex, is a calling for you to go to them. and just say, hey, look, you're paying for your service, right? But I'm not here about that. And just say, I know, this is how I approach Sean. I said, I mean, like guys, you all know, I've coached coaches for a long time. So I say this, I've been doing this for too long, brother, than to know that something is up, right? I know something's going on. I know, like, you know, your intuition, right? Like we said before, you know, some clients are going to leave, right? You know who they are before they leave. And before you know it, they leave, right? It's not ironic at all. It's I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So just say, I know something is not 100% transparent here. Let's get to the bottom of it, right? And just say, it might not be PT, so it might not be physical training, right? And it might not even be personal training related. It might be something that they're going through emotionally. It might be going through something, you know, something they're going through socially. And as soon as you come to them as that person, they might say what they've said to Charmaine, which is, what, maybe can we look at these as more like, you know, a counseling session, right? Or like just bouncing and vibing off someone who can be there as a shoulder to cry on. Or do you know what I mean? So I think that is, Alex, what I'm trying to say is that's a sign for you to go to them and then just say, look, I'm here for you more than just being your online personal training coach. I'm here for you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, the whole lot. And I think it needs to be communicated to people. You've got to go to them. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyone else experiences with this where there's resistance from people? You can just tell 100% that they're just not. They're just not there.
I had one a few weeks ago. Only a new client, she's only been around for a couple of months, and you could just tell something was off with her. Yeah. And then she missed a payment on her sessions. Yeah. Came to do her scan, and I said to her, what's going on? And she ended up breaking down. She's just left a 10-year abusive relationship, taken 3 kids, moved out, all in a week. So it was like, all right, we're going to put everything on hold for a bit, get all that sorted, still keep in touch with her. And then once she's got everything back to normal, she's got a new job this week. So because her hours at work got cut, the ex-bloke assaulted one of her kids, and she was like, that's it, out of there.
There you go. There you go. This is not like uncommon, guys. And again, I feel like this webinar today, the reason why I've chosen the topic is because of like the sort of vibe and energy we had in the last one. It was a really good webinar where, again, it's more deeper. It's really important to talk about your clients, right, on this sort of level, right? And like we talked about, you know, you potentially trying to perfect, but then being paralyzed to take action, which is the worst thing that can happen is not taking it. These guys, they go through a lot of shit, right? And we were talking over the weekend when I was with my friends, like the world is probably in the worst place it's ever been with mental health and anxiety and all these things, of which everybody gets, like including myself. Like I get bad anxiety sometimes, like it's horrible, right? So again, it's about being able to read the room or read the individual. And if you sense something, right, go to them, right? But what I'm going to do next is I want to go. So if there's no one else that I've given the opportunity. So we've had obviously, who do we have? Charmaine, Michael, and Alex came off there and shared their views. So take notes from those guys. Like Michael's, they can be in any situation possible, right? And here's the thing. How can they expect you to know? I say this to so many people. I'm not a fucking mind reader. Like if you vanish for a week and I keep on coming at you harder and harder and harder from a freaking emotional and a place of love, right? I just want a response. Oh yeah, well I had to do this. I had to do some people. Oh yeah, well how do you expect me to know that, right? Think about it. How do you expect me to know? So the same thing with your clients. Like you're gonna have to approach them, right? Obviously Alex is there. We had that about where they're paying you still, but not utilizing the service. That shows they really do want you. But again, you've got to confront them. And then obviously we had a Charmaine's where you might want to actually tweak your coaching service to them. I did have a few clients like ages ago that they actually just wanted to utilize me for the personal aspect. Sit down, talk to them, right? spend time about going through nutrition. Remember, guys, like personal training doesn't have to be physical at all. Doesn't have to be. It's personal. And there is a module in the portal where I talk about welcome. I say welcome to the fitness industry, and a lot of people don't realize what they're walking into. Like a lot of people just aren't cut out for it. But sometimes you have to be a psychiatrist, a relationship or a marriage counselor. Like do you know what I mean? You have to, and if you're not prepared to be that, you're not in the right industry here. Like people are not just going to take action, and it's potentially going to get worse and worse the way this world goes on. But anyway, to get to the point, how to encourage your clients to fully utilize you as their coach. So we've talked about this next point before, and I want to highlight this, right? So who's got some form of like online delivery of content, even if you're a face-to-face trainer as well? I know obviously Charmaine does. Okay, Lockie has like any form of members area or anywhere they can access training, anything at all. Alex, are we doing that? Yeah, you must have that, bro. How are you delivering your videos and tutorials and stuff? Or are you just dragging and dropping it to them? Okay, you're doing that. A little bit of advice for you, brother. I'm doing this with a client in Germany at the moment. So if anyone wants to keep budget low, right? So we recommend putting together a course or a members area. That's the most professional, where they have a login and stuff that we do with ClickFunnels, right? But if you don't want to do that and you want to keep it budget, just use Google Drive, right? So set up Google Drive, and then you can literally just have like, welcome to like coaching with Lockie Wilkinson, right? And then it'll have like step 1 video, step 2 video, make it bulletproof, dummy proof it for them. All right. And we've talked about this before, but when people start with you, they need to know that you are there for them for personal reasons, physical reasons, mental, emotional. And we do this with a pre-framing video, right? Did you do your Charmaine in the end? I think, no?
Not yet, no. Not because we haven't really done anything online. We're just kind of focused face to face at the moment.
Yep. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about today. Like, I mean, I normally mention this for people online, and there's another great client, Leah in WA. I think a few of you will know Leah. Like, she is in the middle of putting these together too. You don't have to be an online PT to be able to give people content that they can absorb digitally. You can be a personal trainer, right? A face-to-face one, and give people access to a series of videos or a series of like sort of introductory things that you want to give them about how to set up MyFitnessPal, like what I'm going to be doing in terms of your nutritional coaching, how to utilize the app, how to use Trainerize if you're using that for delivery of programs. But most importantly, a welcome video that pre-frames them, that you are there for them, and without them communicating, right? Anything, again, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever with you, you're not to know what they're going through, even though you can sense it. And like I said, then what you need to do is get it out of them and extract the information from them. I think the best way of how to encourage people to talk about this, guys, is to give them something which tells them that you want to know about it, right? And the safety net is that you're going to sense it if it happens anyway, and you will then personally be able to extract it. And again, then why this is important. Like, why do you think it is important, guys, that we extract this information from clients? Like, why?
Well, I don't think personal training is just physical. Like, it's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. If you're not working with them holistically, it's never going to really work.
Anyone here, like, ever when you go to like comp prep, right, and you're in like the last few weeks, and like a lot of people, I follow thousands of PTs, right, but like I see constantly people going like, you know, it's coming down to like crunch week and all this sort of stuff, and a lot of people will openly talk about like right now, like it's just about fucking grinding through, right? These guys in a mental place. If I don't have a beer once every week or two, I'm losing my shit. Like I'm telling you, like I have to switch off, right? For me, I have to. Then for me, having a beer, going out and having to sit down with friends, that's what I like to do, and I'm fully open about it. That's what most people do, right? these guys, like they communicate, you know, in peak week, right, where they're trying to, they're depleting their body, they're dropping water weight and stuff like that. That's not enjoyable, right? Lucky, like when you cut for a fight and stuff like that, you know, it's, you're dropping like a lot of weight. It's not cool, right? It's not nice. Think about it. And that's peak performance athletes, right? So your clients, even though, for example, like for me next, I can't wait. I'm gonna get sun creamed up. I'm gonna go to the beach and I'm gonna fucking do my cardio. I can't wait, and I'm gonna get out there and go and do it. Most people, or not, I wouldn't say most people, but a lot of people, the thought of like looking outside with like things that are just common at the moment in society, social anxiety and all that sort of stuff, it's a big step for them to do that, right? You know, let alone and go outside and take their shirt off, which is what a lot of people want to do, right? A lot of people won't ever do that. They won't ever do it because obviously they don't feel comfortable to. So you got to communicate with them, obviously, that you're there for them for everything. And why it's important. Anyone else? Why it's important? Anthony, you were saying something, but you were on mute, right? What were you saying?
I was talking about retention.
You hit the nail on the head, brother. That's what it is. This is retention, yeah.
I think it's just because I had a client recently who just came in and wasn't even coming in to do a training session at all. So she was just wanting me to listen to her about some issues. So I got her away and I did listen, and she just broke down crying. So it's a barrier that there's something they're not telling you. You've got to listen to it and take them through it. And she would have cancelled on me if I didn't take that stance with her. So
yeah, that's what we were talking about, bro, right? We were talking about this, I'm pretty sure, on Boxer, yeah? Like, this is like, this is so common. But the thing is that a lot of personal trainers that aren't personal enough, and this is a problem in the personal training industry, is they'll just turn a blind eye to it. Oh, this person just can't commit. They're not cut out for this shit. No, just because you're a fucking athlete and you get out of bed every day and do cardio at 5 a.m. and train 6 times a week doesn't mean that someone who's 200 kilos can just change their mindset and be like you, right? They can't, right? No worries, Chloe. Like they don't expect that because we live and breathe this shit that people can, right? You've got to get them to communicate. You really have. And I'm telling you, it is retention is the main thing. Like Anthony's nailed it there. Like if you do this, like you will have clients for a long time. Because I tell you, look, people's weight may fluctuate up and down, but I can tell you something that is consistent within people's lives is that they'll argue with their partners, right? If you've got a relationship where you don't argue, it's only a matter of time. You're not in deep enough yet, right? So you'll argue with your partners, right? You'll have a lot of shit going. You've got kids in your life. Holy shit! Like there's another reason why I went to the Gold Coast right last week. Yeah, like I had to get away. I can't stand the noise sometimes, right? But these are always going to be there. And when they happen, it will affect people tremendously to take action and dedicate the time and the energy into what is really important to them, which is, and what they really want to do, which is getting in shape. But sometimes the pizza will call, the beers will call, and then they'll just sit down and consume them rather than taking action because their personal trainer hasn't been personal enough to help them get through their mental struggles. And then obviously, if you do that, you'll retain them as a client. I think for us lot here, very easy to recognize these things, but for a lot of PTs, it's just not, and they'll just think that they have bad retention problems, and then start to think my price point's off, right? What am I doing wrong? I'm charging too much. That's the most common one that I see. People will then decrease what they charge. They'll decrease what they charge, and it's like, that's not the issue here, man. Like your price point's not at all the problem, right? And that's just an example of that. Has anyone ever had any thoughts about that before? When you see people dropping off and you think, man, what am I doing wrong? Like it's me, or like what's happening, I need to change.
I used to really struggle having those conversations with people when I first started, and then I'd kind of be like, oh, like what am I doing wrong for them not taking action? Whereas it's not always you as the PT. Sometimes, yes, you need to reflect on potentially what you're doing, but it's having those difficult and vulnerable conversations with people. I guess if you can't be vulnerable with yourself and have those tough conversations even with yourself, what's going on, you can't do it with other people. And trying to do that first and be able to do that with other people, and it's uncomfortable. It's like an icky feeling going, oh, I don't know really how to speak about this with this person, I don't really know what's going on. But it's trying to break down that barrier. There's like a bit of a wall up with them, trying to break through that wall and just kind of get on their level, be vulnerable with them and see what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. Was someone saying something there? No. So like you need, if you can't, like, again, and this is again what I started off by saying, guys, if you can't come to me, right, and speak about this stuff with you, then don't ever expect that your clients are naturally going to do the same with you. Do you know what I mean? So you come, like, be vulnerable, be open with your insecurities, and it will help you massively. Then go, do you know what? That's helped me so much. Maybe I need to be the one for my clients to make the first move, the first move, and step out and actually welcome them to come and speak to me. Do you know what I mean? It's a good point. It's a very, very good point. And then, yeah, like I've said again, just to highlight here, guys, these videos, just because you're a face-to-face trainer, and that's primarily who's obviously here, doesn't mean that you can't have a platform digitally where you can put through a series of emotional videos telling people, like, this, I've been there myself, this is what you may experience, and working with me, I'm going to fast track you through things. We always talk about what other stuff to include, so I might as well do it now for you guys. Like, if you're having resistance doing something because it's new, well, it's new, so you don't know how to do it. So this is why you're working with me. If you communicate with me and say, hey, I'm struggling how to find the right type of chicken breast to log in my MyFitnessPal. This stuff is so common, right? And if you have that stuff recorded, 1 million people can watch that video. But if you've got the energy, which I know you won't do, to tell 1 million people to look for the right chicken breast to enter, not Aladdin chicken breast. I remember when the top chicken breast in MyFitnessPal was chicken breast Aladdin 1. Like, how big is that one chicken breast? Is it this big? Is it right? Do you know what I mean? Aladdin chicken breast. I'll never forget that. Right, that one video you'll be able to show to so many people rather than freaking say Aladdin until a genie pops out of a fucking lamp. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, look, it's that simple. Guys, anyone else got anything to do with this stuff? Anyone got any clients at the moment they're struggling to get through to? Like, this is the opportunity to bounce off each other and obviously talk about this stuff. But again, you need to be the ones to welcome your clients to fully utilize you, but also have tools there that they can access from the beginning to freaking pre-frame that they're gonna have resistance. They're gonna have resistance. They're gonna have times where they don't want to do anything. They're gonna have times when they don't get out of bed. But when they do, you've got to tell them that you will know what's going on. So it's better for them to come to you rather than you have to come to them, which you will do because you care about them. Anyone else? Anything else?
I was going to say something about some of my clients. I think for me, I used to not set a lot of boundaries. Like, I would be open to messaging them all the time and stuff, and it really drained me. And I think I found my retention is actually better since I've set boundaries where I'm like, these are my contactable hours. Then I know that I can give my energy when we need to have those draining conversations or things that might be awkward for them, or, you know, maybe awkward for me if they're wanting to end their time with me. But I found that when I set those boundaries, it helps me feel not as drained in the process. And I feel like sometimes that can be the work, or it is the worst part of the job when we are not just PTs, like we are all these other things. And I'm aware of that, and I do enjoy that. You know, it's still part of it. We have to know those things to be able to help as much as we can. But I found personally that by trying to set more boundaries of when people can contact me, it's helped me to be more, I don't know, maybe aware when I am with them rather than being drained. That makes sense?
100%.
Yeah.
right, 100% right. Like, I can't. I think I tell a lot of people this all the time. Like, for me, I can relate to that humongously. Anyone else that can relate will give you a chance to obviously speak about that. Like, for me, I tell people this every day, every fucking day, no fail, right? Unless I communicate with you that I'm sick and I cannot get to you. Every day, same time window, same bracket, I show up, I get it done. I think lucky I've told you that loads of times, right? Like, I do it constantly. Why? Because that's what I do. I show up and I get it done. However, the key, and this is what relates to what Sherry was saying, this is huge, and this is advice to a lot of you guys, right? For me to be able to be online, available anytime, man, my brain would explode. It's insane. Like, again, like we say before, the amount of volume of clients that we're looking after at the moment, it's the busiest we've ever been. And it's coming up to a busier time of the year. So there'll be more people coming on, and there may even be a time where we have to kind of cull it and stop because of your own mental health, right? But if I didn't allow that window where I show up every day and I get it done in that window, it's too much, right? And then it becomes detrimental to you and your mental health. So allowing a time and setting guidelines, and this is again something that you can set out inside your training with your guys. Like, I will be available to be spoken or for you to communicate with in between the hours of XYZ and XYZ, or this is the hours that, you know, you can message me at 3 in the morning if you want to, because you run night shifts and that's when you finish work, but I will be responding to you between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 a.m., right? That, like, communicating that is huge. And I think it's really good, Sherry, especially with your workload at the moment, because we're about to leverage and safely over 6 figures. Like, it's something that's really, really important for you to maximize your time. And when you go away as well to New York, this is again something which is really important. You communicate with the guys, like, this is going to be my time zone. This is when you can expect to hear from me. I'm going to be doing 2 hours a day. That's it. And then you know, you can still then go and enjoy your holiday. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. I mean, for me, 2 hours a day, like, you can do that. You can do that and still run a full functioning business and be there daily. That means your clients are getting up to 10 hours of interaction with you per week and you're on holiday. And working for 10 hours a week on holiday, I don't think it's a big ask. But again, that's just me. So yeah, that's yours, Sherry. Charmaine, were you going to say something then as well? No? Aaron, you're definitely right. You need boundaries, brother. You do need boundaries. Someone else was going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to jump on and probably go off topic a little bit, but about that emotional one that Anthony was talking about. I've had it in the past, and I guess as a PT coming up 10 years, before I'd done my holistic, I guess, journey, I used to comfort people. I used to actually be in their space and be like, oh, like, I'm here for you, you know, and like, I used to give hugs. I love hugs, but I used to sort of take their energy, you know. I'm an empath by heart, to be honest, and I used to take their energy. And what I've learned through my studies is that you have to let them sit in that shit, because that's their shit, and be there, listen, but not take on that energy that they're putting out. Because if you try and take it on, they're never going to deal with it. So they'll always just keep reoccurring. It'll just keep coming back to them, and they won't know what it is, and they'll keep letting it to someone else, until one day someone just stands there and just folds their hands and just goes, oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. And then they have to be like, oh, no one's comforting me. Like, no one's cuddling me. No one's feeling sorry for me. You know, so I guess when I started doing that, my clients started, for some weird reason, they started building the relationship stronger and stronger with me. Like, they're like, oh man, this dude's good. Like, he says what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Not saying that it's not right to comfort people, but like, even me, I used to look for that, right? Like, oh man, feel sorry for me, until I had to dig into myself and be like, why am I asking for someone to feel sorry for my problems? And then built off that. But just a bit of Czech Institute knowledge. If anyone wants to dive into that work, it's powerful work. But
that's again, it's not letting anyone else's shit consume you mentally. I'm telling you, I've been I've been to some dark places within my experience in this industry, both as a coach and a consultant. And it's because you go and you care too much about clients that realistically, you'll know the clients that just don't give a shit. You'll know them. It's up to you to always. I always have this conversation with Phil. Like Phil's doing some big numbers at the moment and he's signing up a lot of people. I think he did like 24 sessions sign up in 7 days the other day or the other week. And I was saying it to him. I was like, it's so hard for people that really do care about people, like not to get mentally involved and emotionally attached to other people's shit. But like what Alex said there, like it's powerful. Like, so like, and if that's the way that it works for someone like Alex to handle it, just sit back and be like, yeah, okay, whatever, like, you know, and that's making them then go, okay, shit, I need to try harder to get to this guy's water, to get to this guy, which is what you want them to do. But it actually makes them bring their walls down and eventually communicate with the dude. Then that works. Like, you can either take that approach, but a lot of people, like, they may seem, and again, Alex reads his clients very well. He's going to know who's that's going to work with, right? But a lot of people just may need to be told, like, dude, I can see something's going on here. Whether you choose to communicate it with me or not is up to you, but I can guarantee you we're not moving forward until we talk about this. And if we do, you get them excited potentially about communicating about it. If we do talk about this, you could potentially see a massive turnaround quickly. I've seen it. I've people that needed a personal training session inside the office. Talk about nutrition. Next week, 3 kilos, which they hadn't lost 3 kilos in like the last three or 4 months, but they'll lose it in 1 week because you just sit down and you get personal, and then obviously you talk about what their limiting factors are, like, you know. So do it. Welcome that. Take a really solid interest in what might be going on behind people's just personal training goals and what they're doing in the gym. The main thing. Anyone else? What do we got? Nothing else? All right, this is good. Well, dudes and girls, being good as always. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up, but we'll do a little summary as well. Basically, just be there, I think, is the main thing. Just be there for your guys and make sure that if people are quiet and you can read that these guys are not, right, they're not getting results. I think that's the one thing as well. You can add like PT session log. If someone's not losing weight, I think we did this, I think, a while back with Phil. So if you've got staff members, right, this is really, really powerful. So Nath, as well as you hire your second now, right? Dude, take this one on board. I said this to Phil, right? If you notice that a client who's obviously weight loss, so 200 pounds or 100 kilos plus, right? They're weight loss, right? Unless you're jacked up and you're a bodybuilder, you're not going to be 100 kilos of muscle, right? There's no chance. So if those guys or girls, if they don't lose weight within 2 weeks, right, you need to have what we call the chat with them, right? 2 weeks, that's it. Because if these guys don't lose weight in that time, in 2 weeks, they're already starting to think about quitting, guys. And they're going to blame you. That's what they're going to do. They're going to blame you. Even though they deeply down within themselves know that it is them. Because it is them. And this is why I think a lot of PT's approaches come from the place of, well, if you don't want to follow a meal plan and do my training program, then can't help you. But what they don't know is that client is going to go out there and say, don't work with that PT because he wasn't personal enough, actually. He didn't give me what I needed to have. And they'll tell their friends, like, when my mum died and like I went through a bad place and I wasn't in the right place, and they'll be like, oh yeah, babe, of course, it's a horrible time. My PT wasn't there for me. Oh yeah, he's a shit PT. Well, he doesn't care about you. That's the sort of shit they're going to be saying about you behind your back. I fucking guarantee it. I guarantee it. So make sure you welcome it early, put the content together, make sure you make them feel comfortable. If people aren't losing weight, that's one way you can do it, because I know everyone here should be using PT session logs. Nath, especially with your staff, right? If you want to monitor like your staff's performance and if they're getting results or not, if you know, because you're going to sign everyone up, right? You're going to be communicating and coaching them all on Voxer and having a bit of a relationship there with them and keeping that there for retention purposes. If you notice that these guys in your weekly meetings with your trainers and when you assess, right, you assess everything, their PT session logs, their goals. If they're not moving, right, that's a chance that either your trainer's not doing the job, the PT session log you'll see visibly is not getting filled out, or there's a mental barrier, which then you, as the coach with the relationship through Voxer, can talk about. And just be soft about. Say, hey, look, I've noticed we haven't moved. The main thing that I need to do as a coach and someone who is really here for you, on top of Danielle, right, who's your PT in the gym, right, is that I want to make sure that you're okay. If you just say those simple words, guys, I just want to make sure that you're okay. There's been a big push about this recently with men and mental health, right? I like to say, are you okay? And making sure that like guys talk to each other rather than getting themselves into bad mental spaces. It's the same thing with your clients. If you do that, they'll be like, wow, man, I have never heard this from a PT before. I've never had someone be so personal, which is what we are, right? Personal trainers. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm happy, right? Put some content together, encourage them, and make sure you're the ones to utilize them to come to you, or at least highlight for them to come to you. And why this is important? Well, it's important for retention, because if you don't do it, then they are going to go away and they are going to talk to their friends and they are not going to recommend you to anyone. And if you do this over a long period of time, and I have seen brands collapse, I've seen old clients of mine collapse, and I knew that they wouldn't succeed in the industry, and I couldn't help them. And I've seen them leave the industry, and a lot of the time it's because they don't listen when someone gives them advice about how to actually be a person, right? Not personal trainer, a person. And just caring about people, it won't get you far. Before you know it, you'll be in a different position, in a different industry, potentially doing something that you hate. So let's all continue to do what we love. All right. I'll speak to you all soon. If no one's got anything else, are we all good? Thumbs up if we're good. All right. I'll speak to you on Voxer. I'm going to go to the beach and I'll speak to you all soon. Let's go.